ho, this is Captain Dirty, and we are back with another episode of Talking Dirty. I didn't expect my second episode to be on this subject, but here we are. Today we're going to talk about the warning I just got from CIG a few days ago. And I'm going to explain my perspective and my opinion on that, and talk about some of the issues at play here. So there's a little bit of context I want to give before we get into it. I've got some emails from some CIG reps. So here's one of them. It says, thanks for getting back to me. I'm still unclear about what specific actions led to me receiving this warning. It would be helpful to know what I need to avoid to be clear of these warnings and bans. This was an email sent about 2 years ago when mass emails went out to basically anybody who did any PvP. So it continues here. Can you please link me the clarifications you mentioned in your last email? If you haven't already, I would like to know if the following actions are considered griefing, assuming we are not repeatedly going out of our way to target the same player. And specifically, I ask firing on people responding in medbays. Okay, I've got a whole other list of stuff here I'm not going to go into, but you can pause the video and take a look at what I asked here too. So going forward, I get a response from CIG, and it says a lot of other stuff here. It's not super relevant to this conversation, but here Drac says, as for your inquiry about specific behavior and others, that's something my team, the community team, and the devs are putting our heads together on to provide better transparency and clarification to the PvP community going forward. A safe bet for now is exactly as you phrased it, going out of our way to target the same players. Drac. Okay? So that was about 2 years ago, as you can see. Now, this is what I just got. Greetings. It has come to your attention that your account has been involved in what we deem as excessive griefing. Please take a moment to review our stance on griefing here. And we'll get back to this link in just a bit here, but probably most of you watching this video have already clicked this link and know what it's going to say. We ask kindly that you refrain from this type of behavior going forward. This is only a warning. The future incidents could result in more severe penalties. So it's only a warning. This isn't a big deal. I'm not getting banned or anything like that. So I send them a response to this. Thank you for the warning. Is this due to the Carrick Medbay incident last night? If not, I'm truly clueless as to what I have done. I have been told by other CIG reps that killing people in medbays is not against policy. Has this policy changed? Greetings. Yes, this is in regards to the Medbay incident, which we have deemed excessive griefing. This incident is now considered closed and may not receive further responses upon inquiries. I find this, I mean, I don't know if they have made this based off of a Reddit post, which was made a few hours before I got this email. I don't know if they reviewed my stream. It's possible that they did. It's possible that they didn't. However, it's my belief that if they watched my stream, I don't think you could make the argument in good faith that I was intending to grief this player. In fact, my intention was to engage in what I would consider to be legitimate piracy gameplay, and we will go further into that as we go along here. But before we do that, we need to look at the link that was in one of the earlier emails. Okay. I'm not going to read all of this, but we will read the relevant part There is a line that is occasionally crossed where players are going outside of the bounds of immersing themselves as a pirate/PvPer. Some users are going out of their way to leverage live streams and other mediums to excessively grief. In many of these cases, it is no longer about enjoying the game, but rather disrupting it. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. It was never my intention to grief players in this way. I play Star Citizen to pirate people, and that is an unpleasant experience for most. However, it has been from day one an intended gameplay style and loop, and I believe that me and my organization engage in it in a legitimate fashion. Going forward here. Stream sniping, pad ramming, firing into armistice zones, or utilizing various exploits to grief others, these are just a few examples of excessive griefing which we do not tolerate. Okay, so there was no stream sniping, there was no pad ramming, there was no firing into armistice zones, and we were not utilizing an exploit to grief others. Now, there is a mechanic involved in play here, and there are some workarounds which we have discovered after this incident, which are not, I wouldn't consider them to be publicly known unless you are the sort of person that consumes all of the, a lot of Star Citizen content on a regular basis. Maybe you know about this. But I think it's safe to say that this is not a widely known mechanic, and we will get into that a little bit later. Going on here, if you find yourself on the receiving end of this, we are more than happy to investigate. In cases where it's warranted, we will absolutely intervene. Okay. So that's it. This post here is at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 years old at this point. There have been no updates to it. There has been no transparency. Like was mentioned in my emails with Drac a couple years ago. We have gotten none of that, okay? And I understand that this is a developing game and mechanics are changing, and the types of gameplay behaviors that players are engaging in will change along with those mechanics, and so this is not a you do this and it's done kind of job. It's an ever-evolving process, and I do understand that. However, I think this is a widely held opinion among most of the PvP community, that the lines here are about as clear as mud, honestly. I mean, you give 3 specific things that you can't and should not do, okay? That's mostly pretty clear. I think there are some questions about defining pad ramming that could be made that I'm not really going to get into in this video. And firing into armistice zones is pretty clear, except now there are armistice zones which you absolutely can fire in mechanically. So honestly, this should really be updated too, because this is no longer really applicable to current game mechanics. Okay, so let's get into the actual gameplay that this whole fuss is about. Okay, we have boarded this Carrick, the owner of which was not on board when I stole it. I flew it out to dead space. I'm actually about to leave the Carrick, and the owner of the Carrick spawns in the Medbay. Right, he's got an arc-light pistol, as you saw at the very beginning of this video. He tries to shoot me. I managed to kill him, and as you can see now, he's starting to respawn in the Medbay. Okay, so 2 years ago, I made a post to Spectrum when these, Medbay mechanics were first being introduced. And it was the same thing happening. We'd stolen a ship, and the owner of the ship just continually respawns, okay? I posted it to Spectrum, hoping that I would get some feedback as to whether or not this was griefing, okay? I got really nothing from the devs. So I considered their silence to be an okay on that and continued to do that. I got this follow-up email from Drac where I specifically asked if Medbay, if killing people in the Medbay after they've respawned is off limits. And he says, and I quote, "Not if you're going out of your way to do it." Now, we've stolen this ship. We flew it out to dead space. We've got a reclaimer that's pulling up and getting ready to start salvaging the hull. Okay? I would rather have left this ship. I was on my way to the elevator, as you could see earlier. I was about to leave. All right? I don't want to be here doing this, in all honesty. As you can see now, we're allowing the player to spawn and get up out of the bed. And the player is choosing to attack us with his fists. Now, we have already attempted to communicate with him through the voice comms, and in a little while I will attempt to do so through text as well. We got no response from this player. Okay, so we start to, brainstorm some things that we can do, and we do discuss at one point laying in the bed. Okay, and you'll see us do that a little bit later in this video. Now, it's my understanding that if you lay in the bed long enough, it will force the player to spawn at their home base or whatever. I don't know what that time limit is. I'm guessing it's maybe 5 minutes or so. But I want you to notice that we've given this player many opportunities to simply push the button on the Medbay screen where they can change their location. They don't have to continue spawning in this Carrick if they don't want to. Okay, we do sometimes, I will admit, kill them right away, but we have already given them several opportunities to go ahead and just push that button and opt out of this situation. Now, as you can see, they are continuing to participate in this, and I would not say that this is involuntary. Now, I do understand there are some new mechanics in 3.18. I would like to go on the record as to saying that this is my third or maybe fourth play session in 3.18, so I am still getting used to these new mechanics. Now, I understand that if there are other people on board your ship, you are no longer able to log out of the game. Now, I don't know if that player, I'm sure they can Alt F4 or something, but they are not stuck in this loop here. They do have the opportunity to opt out by pushing the button on the Medbay, right? And we're not intentionally trying to prevent them from logging out. That is a new mechanic that has been introduced, and it's kind of an unfortunate side effect of this gameplay that's happening right now. It's not our intention to do that. We've got 3 people here now who are sitting in this Medbay, trying to make sure that this dude doesn't get out of the Medbay, go to the pilot's seat, ram our reclaimer, kill everybody, hit the self-destruct button, just fly out of there, right? There's any number of things that they can do. And as you can see here, we've actually chosen here to drug him and try to communicate with him some more. But he declines. He raises his fists and he immediately starts to attack us, so we down him again. Okay, so you really can't make the argument in good faith that we are pinning this player to the Medbay. We've given them so many chances already, and we're only a few minutes into this video. Okay, so I have some questions here about how we proceed, right? If I steal a ship with a Medbay and the owner has set their respawn to that Medbay, do I now have to cheeseball hack the Medbay by having me or one of my org members lay down in the Medbay for however many minutes until this player just exits out of the game or is forced to respawn somewhere else? It's my personal opinion that that is a less honorable or ethical way to deal with this situation. I don't know if many players would even understand what was happening to them if they sat there and stared at a black screen for over 60 seconds. I know that I would probably be wondering if I was ever going to respawn, or if I should start to think about exiting to menus or reloading the game or something. However, if that's how we have to proceed here, then some clarification from CIG would be great. And I feel like I, in my emails more recently to CIG, was attempting in good faith to figure out where those lines are. Okay, because sandbox PvP is like all I do. It's what my entire group and YouTube channel is completely focused on. And so it's important for me to understand where those lines are. Because I would rather not cross them. I would rather not lose the hundreds of dollars that I have invested into this game. I would rather continue to play and enjoy this game and to create content for this game. However, I was not really given the opportunity. The ticket was immediately closed. I am looking at opening up another line of communication with CIG to attempt to figure this out. I would love for them to publicly say, hey, there's a little bit of an issue with our medbays. We've noticed that if pirates steal a ship and a player is respawning on their medbay, that they may be stuck in a game loop. Here's how you deal with that, right? You push the button on the screen and allow that player to choose a new respawn location. That's fine. That's totally acceptable. Just tell us where the line is, right? Is it okay for us to lay on the bed and force them to stare at a black screen until they exit to menus or get pushed to another location? Is that griefing? I have no idea, right? But my only other alternatives are not pirate a ship with a medbay, which is frankly dumb and completely game breaking and immersion breaking, and honestly frustrating that's even an option here. Or I soft death the ship. Right, now, I've stolen this ship. It doesn't have any cargo. However, I know that if we stick our salvage crew to this thing, they're going to make $500,000 in about 30 minutes. Right, so it's a profitable, completely reasonable thing for me and my org to engage in. And if we soft death the ship, we're losing, I don't know, half of our profit at least. And we're running a crew of, between 6 and 10 people. So we're splitting that up with a good number of people. We would want our time to be worth it, right? And those numbers actually aren't too bad if you don't salvage or soft death the ship before salvaging it, right? So that's not a really great option. I don't really think there are very many other options here for us to do except just let this player have free reign of his ship to do whatever he wants to do. And I guarantee you he's not going to allow us to continue our pirate operation here. So, my open, question to CIG is, can you please tell us how we are supposed to handle this situation? I'll do it for now, but honestly, I think this is on CIG to solve. They need to introduce some other mechanic where we can either hack the medbay and turn it off so that the captain of the ship can't continue to respawn. And, maybe that takes us like 3 or 4 minutes like it might a satellite. Fine, great. We at least know like there's something to do. Everybody else knows like, well, at least I only have to endure this for however many minutes, right? But there's some way that this is being dealt with, right? There could be a limitation on how many times players can respawn in the medbay. Is it 3 times? Is it 10 times? Right? If we know the answer to that, well then there's a clear solution to this problem. But to just like randomly give me a warning for honestly engaging in gameplay that I have done for the last 3 years, this isn't like an everyday kind of thing, but this does happen when you steal a ship and somebody's on the medbay, right? And you know, what can you do? In the past, what we would do is shoot them until they paid us, and we would leave after they paid us, right? We've been doing this for years, and I've probably got 5 or 6 videos on YouTube right now where we're doing just that. But since this one video blows up on Reddit, all of a sudden I get this ban. And maybe it's because there are some new gameplay mechanics involved in that, but if that's the case, it would have been great for the CIG rep to, like, I don't know, let me know. You know, give me something more than like, we deem this excessive griefing, this case is closed. Like, oh, okay, where do we proceed from here, right? And there's this huge, you know, it blew up on Reddit with a bunch of people chiming in from every which side. And, you know, it got as, you know, ugly as you can imagine. But there were some really good points in there. A lot of them I've brought up in this video. And, you know, I'll just say as a final point before I, you know, end this, that, you know, you've created a sandbox game for us to play. We're playing the sandbox game. But, you know, we need to have clearer definitions of where those lines are. And, you know, I hate to say it, but CIG has not done a good job of doing that. And it's been almost 2 years now since, you know, I communicated with them, and more than that, since they made their post where they said that they were going to continue to think about and talk about and work on these ideas. But we've gotten nothing. And, you know, I think that is a little bit lame. So, you know, if I have earned my warning, so be it. But, you know, please give us just a little bit more information. Thanks, CIG.